Hello, fellow growth seekers. I spent 2 extraordinary days in London with world famous Tonyjselimi. His journey is one of resilience and determination. Tony is now one of the world's foremost qualified transformational life coaches and business growth experts, specialising in human behaviour and purposeful and authentic living, leading and loving. Despite being critically ill, bullied and homeless on the streets of London, he persevered to graduate from one of the top engineering universities in the UK and build a successful information technology career in the private and public sectors. Today he's a renowned TEDx speaker, multi-award winning author and #1 best-selling author of A Path to Wisdom, #Loneliness, The Unfakeable Code, A Path to Excellence and 2 upcoming books. Tony's wealth of knowledge and a broad experience make him a trusted resource for individuals from all professions and businesses, from all market sectors, engaged in high-stress performance, productivity and purpose missions to turn their frustrations, struggles and problems into stepping stones to achieve personal excellence, professional growth and maximise human and business potential. Tony leverages your education, expertise and experiences to increase your income and significantly impact a meaningful life path. Tony believes we can solve humanity's ever-growing challenges through better education and greater collaboration. He is the co-creator of Living My Illusion and executive producer of the Truth About Reading documentary, the creator of Into Your Divinity documentary series and pioneered several trademark methodologies in human development. Tony has been featured on over 1,000 TV, radio, podcast and magazine interviews, including BBC, Sky, ABC, NBC, CBS and Fox, reaching over 100 million people worldwide. That's quite an achievement. I look forward to demystifying how to improve meeting outcomes in today's interview with Tony. Tony, working with you all weekend made me realise how meetings can be a significant time and financial burden on corporations. Can you share with our audience why this is so?
For the last 2 decades, I spent time both in the corporate world, leading and managing billion-pound technology transformation programs, as well as managing and developing and creating teams cross-culture, cross-countries. And now, for the last 12 years, I've been working with business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs, CEOs of some of the top companies. And one of the consistent problems that I've seen in the corporate world, both working in the corporate world and now serving the corporate world, is that on average, people spend around 14 to 18 hours a week in meetings. And sometimes this can be applied in days per day, 14 hours a day meeting if the organization is bigger and they have multiple meetings. And there's so much wastage and cost that is associated when people go into meetings without clear strategy and outcomes and results and without being prepared. And also it creates this massive bureaucracy, a meeting for a meeting for a meeting for a meeting, and therefore it impacts productivity. And there are some research and studies in US and UK, but I'm going to mention the research in US because I've been working with some of the companies who are US based. It can go up to $330 billion a year wastage in meetings.
Wow, that's great a figure. So in addition to the direct financial costs of meetings, are there indirect costs?
Absolutely. We're talking about the indirect costs when it comes to people productivity, when it comes to burnout, when it comes to the stress, when it comes to how people engage, when it comes to conflicts that happens in the meetings, when it comes to inefficiencies of the time management and how other people, when they come into a meeting, if you have somebody who comes unprepared in the meeting, can very easily waste the time of other people. So, this can lower productivity and lower engagement and lower the trust in the processes that the company has. So therefore, the costs go also on a people level, not just on organizational level, business level, process level, but also on a people level, what affects them their well-being.
fascinating stuff. So what is the first thing that people needs to do to prepare for an aim?
So one of the reasons why I love human behavior is truly understanding how unique each individual is. And I think by learning and developing those skills within ourselves, the people skills and effective communication skills and mindfulness and being able to listen to the language, we can learn to open up the meeting with this incredible energy. And you spent the weekend with me in my weekend transformation with me privately, and you've seen that other activities outside the coaching and training, how I interact with people. So, you've seen in action how I did that when we went to the Gantt store.
Yeah.
So what was one thing I did?
So we were in the Gantt store yesterday, and immediately you paid the people a compliment, and they were very responsive to that. And after that, they just opened up to you.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You created an amazing dialogue with them.
So there's no human being who doesn't like to be complimented. And it's something that I've learned from my parents. The first thing I noticed about my parents then running multiple restaurants in former Yugoslavia, they always taught me compliment people. And who doesn't like a compliment? So no matter what the problem you have, it's a great starter of a conversation with another human being when you compliment about something. Because my range of background over 30 years, I picked up so many skills. So no matter what the situation, yesterday we're in retail. I worked 10 years in retail. And also I worked in retail as a shop assistant during my university days. So I have the technology background, the business background, and also from a shop level background, being able to see a situation and straight away acknowledge the opportunity, acknowledge the expertise, acknowledge something about them. So the first thing I complimented them was about what?
About the sales and training.
Sales and training, how they have this amazing process that they teach a new salesperson who joins the team at Grant, how they basically, when a customer buys something, what is the process for the customers to leave the store? And it was incredible. It was very detailed.
Yeah, and it was amazing to watch you in action with these people and to see how responsive they were.
And what did they do as a result when I engaged like that?
They were very grateful. And
what did the manager ask of me? What did I give her? My business card.
Yeah. So they asked for your business card. Yeah.
So she straight away asked for my business card, and I didn't go there with the selling. We went there with the intention of Paul buying something and me buying something. But just by being complimenting them about the things and then spotting an opportunity, the manager itself said, "Can I have your card?
Yeah.
I would love to learn more about your books. I would love to know more about your training and what you do for people."
Yeah, that was fascinating to watch. Yeah, because most people just go into shop to shop.
Yes.
So, can you explain us in better detail what makes effective communication?
There are many levels of what makes effective communication, but the first level is being able to hear in other people's values. And this is the most difficult skill to master, because the brain tends to prepare answers before the person even asks you the question. So effective communications has many levels. One, it's the kind of language that we use when we communicate with one another. Secondly, are we being mindful in the way we communicate to one another? Thirdly, do we have a common purpose around what this communication is trying to achieve? Because usually we become very selfish and we want us to be heard. So therefore the brain is used to that, but also it's used to pick up information from past experiences and assume things without them being true. And another one, it's great ways to prepare great questions, which are based from an energy of curiosity, that inner child inside of us. No matter how powerful leader you are, no matter how, what authority you have, in each one of us, this curious child. And when you ask question to that curious child, you become curious. But then, if you assume and you become very arrogant, you are met with arrogance. So therefore, you create conflict in a team. You create conflict in the team. And in those meetings, and then you start wasting a lot of time because everybody wants to fulfill their unique set of values. And nobody is teaching them how to align those values for the common purpose. So effective communication goes on many levels. That's why I love human behavior, because I can listen and then I can guide them people how to develop those skills so they can make the most of it.
Yeah, that's amazing insights, because you do notice that in meetings how people tend to project their own view and they're quite shut down to other people's views.
Yes, I mean, you had many meetings over the years I've been coaching you, and every time I prepared you for every coaching session, you spent weekends with me and you created outcomes.
Yeah. So how can your methods assist in leveraging insights to maximize productivity and collaboration?
Okay, so there's two key things in here. One is productivity and one is collaboration. So productivity can be first and foremost productivity us as human beings. How do we become the best productive person in whatever task we are given? And that requires many things. One is about clarity around what is it that is expected of us. Because most people, when they give you a job description or they give you a task, they don't really give you the wholeness of that. And then you have to use your own skills to be able to demystify what that means. Okay? So to increase your productivity, first and foremost, you need to put this clarity before you, what is expected out of you at the end of whatever job or task or meeting you have been given. Or you attend the meeting, what is it that I need to achieve by the next meeting? And what is it then that every action I need to take for me to ensure that in the next meeting I'm prepared? And what is it the common agenda that we collectively as a team are trying to create? Because most people go with their own agenda in the meeting. But when you have clarity around each other's agenda and how that supports the collective organizational agenda, and then how collectively you can create structure and processes that ensures delivery of that, and you become more productive. And when that is aligned with your personal and company values, your productivity increases. Now, collaboration, on the other hand, again, we're going back to human behavior, because if you approach people with cockiness, if you approach people with conflict, they're going to shut down. So you're triggering in that part of their psychology, which is the amygdala, where they go into the fight, flight, or freeze response. So, the training, the methodologies are designed to open up people into their frontal cortex, to engage their executive center. So therefore, they can create a greater collaboration for greater good. So I get, this is one of the processes I've created and trademarked, and I'm talking about in my upcoming book, which is specifically about business growth, philanthropy, purpose, prosperity, which is the pentagon of wins. And the pentagon of wins, it's a situation where me and you are my client, I'm your coach. What is, first and foremost, what am I winning from this, you being my client? Then what is the win you're creating as a result of all the work that we're doing together? Then what is it the people we serve gonna win out of this situation, out of this coaching session, out of this training, or whatever it might be specific? And then how it is the wider society benefiting from that, and how the world benefits from that. And when you have this higher level of awareness, it's incredible how you find the energy, how you find the time, how you find the money for you to be extremely productive, extremely collaborative.
That's amazing, absolutely amazing, Tony. Thank you for sharing that. So you've also spent decades in cross-disciplinary studies, from quantum physics, engineering, information technology, business strategy, and wealth building, to human behaviour, emotional intelligence, psychology, and group dynamics. What piece of advice would you give to someone going into a meeting?
So, yes, I have spent the last 3 decades in cross-disciplinary research, because I had this curiosity. I wanted to really help people maximize their human potential and maximize that intelligence within us, and how to make better use of what we are given by birth. So before you go into any meeting, it's about having clarity of what is the narrative of that meeting. First and foremost, the collective narrative and individual narrative, and then being able to align individual narrative with collective narratives and create a structure of questions, of topics to be discussed with clear outcomes that fulfills each other's narrative.
That's fantastic. Fantastic again, thank you. So why is it essential to understand how personalities affect meeting interactions?
Now, I'm fortunate because I've worked, first and foremost, I come from different cultural backgrounds. And also I worked in organizations and teams and with clients from all over the globe. So therefore, our personalities are being developed over time and have been encouraged massively through our environment. And the environment in which we built up, it can create various personalities in us. So depending if you've been exposed more to disappointment, to pain, to family conflicts and all of that, what kind of personality you develop, and the kind of experiences you create, so the brain is filled and your subconscious mind is filled with all of pain, resentments, all of those emotional charges that not necessarily apply to your current situation, but you are using them unconsciously. So, the personalities evolve over time. This is why I separate the difference between personality and identity in my book, The Unfakeable Code. Personality is something that is transient, and we can develop many personalities. So we can be a people pleaser. One of the common things that a lot of my clients come to me for coaching and session is to help them overcome the people pleasing personality. But that is only one side of it. There's also a great benefit of having that people pleaser personality. So when people say to me, like, get rid of my people pleaser personality, I straight away fire back question at them to understand what is the pain that they think that being a people pleaser is only bad. But when you are a people pleaser and you know consciously how to use the two personalities together, this is where you create that wholeness about a trait, and then you consciously use how to use those traits to create a greater good, better outcome, and create those pentagon wins situations.
Thank you. Thank you again for sharing. So what one needs to do to enhance team relationships and resolving conflicts? What does one need to do in those situations?
First and foremost, the biggest problem I see people, it's when there's no alignment in beliefs and values. When there's no alignments in like the kind of actions and tasks and job description and salaries and company visions, company values, and when you see behaviors that you're supposed to model, but they very toxic or they go against the values of the individual. So if you see a manager saying something and doing something else, your employees will do the same. So therefore, the first thing I do with people is really clarifying first and foremost the top level values of the company, that most companies put them in brochures. But when I go in and I start doing those strategy sessions, there's no alignment. It's only beautiful words that they use. So if you ask somebody on the shop floor, and if you ask the person who works, they have no idea how that applies to them. So basically clarifying the values across the organization, then create a common vision that is agreed from the top level executive all the way to the worker on the shop floor or the employee or whatever it might be, the job description you have. And then create a vision, and then being able to align those individual values with team values, with department values, with company values. And if the company operates across different time zones and different countries, create that common value, and then have a clarity of the inspired action steps they need to take in order to fulfill those values.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I noticed that a lot of companies I've worked at, the employees in the shop floor have no idea what the company values or vision is. So how can they apply and work towards that in collaboration?
Yes, I mean, most of them, they do have it. They do have it because they have it in their scriptures. It's on the website, it's on their brochures. But then if I meet somebody at the reception and I ask them this, they don't know what that means. If I go into a department, if I go into a meeting, most people don't know their individual values in that meeting. So therefore, they don't even know how to align the individual values with the topic of that meeting. And they wake and they go away with and to have another meeting to clarify this meeting. And then you have another meeting to clarify the meeting of the meeting. And you have another meeting for somebody else to, and this is how that 18 hours a day research was put together, how much wastage a day a company can waste on just meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting.
So how do you use your methods to train individuals and companies to maximise the outcomes of their meetings?
So the reason I love personal development and personal growth, the reason I love emotional intelligence and human behavior, no matter who you are, no matter what company you work for, first and foremost, we are individuals. So there's no company or business exists without people. So therefore, the role of the company, of the people, is extremely important. So when you grow your people in the company, your company grows. So when you grow flowers into your garden becomes beautiful.
Yeah.
So when we have leaders and managers and people in the organizations who become those flowers, the entire productivity and service grows. So all of my methodologies are designed around, first and foremost, to help people become self-governed, to help people organize their mind, to help people identify clearly triggers that makes them do responses and decisions and choices that can negatively impact themselves and others. And secondly, with communication skills, when it comes to sales, when it comes to understanding values, when it comes to understanding what drives people, what makes great leaders, what makes the people trust those leaders, what makes those processes established through hard work, through a lot of investment, work, and what it doesn't make work. So all of those methodologies are designed to awaken different part of our human consciousness, both our brain and the many parts of our brain. So you start increasing your awareness, you start increasing your attention, you start to increasing your alarms when you know something is wrong. And over the years, I've worked with you with so many levels to improve the different processes in every job you've worked, and to become a great listener when you go into a meeting, so you can in advance predict a problem. And you said to me so many times, it saved the company millions, sometimes 100 millions, if it went wrong.
Yeah.
So the methodologies are designed to really help people, help processes, help leaders, help businesses, and also help around innovation, creation, learning, development, growth, all of that.
That's amazing, absolutely amazing. Lots of powerful insights you share there. So what techniques do you teach to build trust and foster positive team dynamics?
So I have many techniques. All of my methodologies shared in all of my books. The first book, the methodology is Alarm. It's a 5-step methodology, which basically pretty much alarms you when you're out of alignment with your true being, which for me it's a powerful, angelic, godly being that is there, kind, loving, and can do extraordinary things. But when we become very gravitational, very heavy, emotionally upset and all of that, the way we make choices and decisions is impacted by that. So therefore, most people will think that this is their intuition talking. No, it's your emotion talking. True intuition comes when you're truly aligned with your thyself, and your body, mind, heart, and soul is at peace. So therefore, you can meditate, you can listen to that voice. So those are the elements that I bring into all of that to help people change the dynamics, to help people improve their mental health, to help people grow and excel.
Thank you. So as someone who's been benefiting from your extraordinary teachings, coaching, mentoring and training, let's talk about why we must invest in improving our mental health as individuals and companies. And this is myself talking as someone who suffered from OCD, pure O, became an alcoholic, became an addict, drug addict as well, because I was suffering from such poor mental health.
Well, first and foremost, it's like, we all hear the saying, your health is your wealth. Majority of people I've met around the world, and I've met a lot of people, they all intuitively know that our health is our wealth. But then they take medication, they take alcohol, they have antidepressant pills, they go into addiction, they go into shopping addiction, they go into sexual addiction, they go into all those addictions, behaviors. They go in depression, they have bigger stress, and all of that impacts your mental health. And what they say, I think being Scottish and having all the fishermen down there, where do you know the fish is rotten?
The head.
The head, okay? So we have these wonderful sayings from sages, from thousands of years history, knowledge and everything else, but we listen to it, but we're not applying that in our daily actions.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just share a little about myself, how everything I went through, I was searching for results, but I didn't achieve those results and really until I started working with you. It's been transformational.
Yes, it's a transformational work because every work has, I believe that whether you go therapy, training, online, everything has its own benefit. But if you truly want to make remarkable transformation, work with somebody who can take you into that transformation space and they know their subject, they have experience, and they can create results for you. Because group training can take you to somewhere. But you've committed for the last 7 years to have your, both you've been with me in training and you've also been individual sessions. And combining the two, I've seen over the years how you've transformed. Even at the times when it was so difficult for you going through the initial stages of pure OCD, because your entire psychology was fixed. Fixed mindset. And this is what I talk about in Path to Wisdom, the difference when you start helping people. But also one thing you notice, I have a very great ear to listen when you speak words or a language that limits you and then challenge you on that.
Yeah.
And most people find it difficult to challenge somebody either because they have people pleaser personality, one sided of it, or they're afraid, or they might feel rejected, or they might feel they lose their job, they lose their partner, they lose their friendship, they lose their coach. So it's all fear-based psychology. But with a great expert, great coach that focuses you and also can hold the space, because in our coaching sessions we've had so many different things coming up, so many different topics, so many different emotions. And one thing you've observed, I hold the space for you. And you have to go through all of that transformation to create a breakthrough.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, a lot of people I've seen previously were very comforting towards me, whereas you've been very challenging, but the challenge helps you grow.
Yes, challenging and supporting, the two together. Two together in equal measure. As I say, pain and pleasure in equal measure.
Yeah, they help you grow and achieve growth and the results you want.
Yes.
So far you have delivered over 25 hours of coaching and training. You've delivered 25,000 coaching and training hours. You've helped individuals overcome addictions, anxiety, depression, feeling stuck, writing books, becoming better leaders, managers, speakers and partners, and generated over $1 billion in sales. So what is your secret?
Since I was a kid, I always loved learning. And I always had this curious personality that I wanted to find ways to understand life, to understand the mysteries of life, to understand spirituality, to understand the differences, to understand why people behave in a certain way, why we have those conflicts in my family, why we have inequalities in society, injustice. So, for me, curiosity has been the leading thing to become who I am, because I have invested over 4 decades in my education, and I continue to do so, and I continue to invest in some of the best teachers and educators. And the more you grow, the more you want that to be very exclusive, because I also have my work, and I also have my personal life with my partner, and I also have my family, so I have to manage all of those different things. And therefore I value quite a lot my mentors that have been in my life now for 10 years. And I put a proportion of my income every year, which grows, with the best teachers in the world. So I have always had like 2 to 3 teachers for me for the last 40 years in my life. The only time I didn't have that, but I have a different teacher, is when I was in civil war, and the period when I was homeless in London. So the moment I settled down and went through all my grief and overcoming all the loss during the civil war, I started working 3 to 5 jobs. And then the moment I I got myself into having a home, I started looking for healers, for therapists, for coaches that can help me while I'm studying, while I'm working, while I'm putting my life back together. So all of this for me was to help me to fix myself, the broken self, the hopeless self, the non-confident self, the person who went through so much trauma, so much loss. So there was that part of me, the first part of my life was about healing myself. And then I never stopped. And then in 2008, after the financial crisis, I saw many people who lost their life as a result. And I knew that if I continued this kind of fast track life in the corporate world, I'll end up in the same fate, because I used to work 16 to 18 hours a day. And that turned into a burnout and into this low self-worth. You put so much work for somebody else, but you get so little value in the respect. So this is where I upped my investment in my training, my development in coaches. And as part of that, I did a mini MBA entrepreneurial course, through which I wrote my book and hired some of the best coaches to help me through that. And then I launched my books into the world.
So why did you write A Path to Wisdom, #Loneliness, The Unfakeable Code, and A Path to Excellence?
Now, when I never knew I'm going to write. So, the first time that somebody told me I'm going to write was my mother in 2012. When she was here in London with my dad, and I used to do some interviews with them about their growth, their journey, their entrepreneurial journey, the restaurants, and how they created from nothing all of this wealth and life and all of that, and then how they cope with the loss because of the civil war and all the emotions. So I started really getting deep into understanding my parents' psychology. And it's during that process, it took 10 years from that moment, when after the financial crisis happened, where I wanted to integrate all of my knowledge, learning, lessons, experiences, cross-disciplinary studies, and help people going through similar transitions and problems, both people working in the corporate world and businesses, but also individuals, families, children, relationships. And I wanted to merge my spiritual aspects of the knowledge I've learned over the many years, and the healing aspects, and healing mind, and psychology, cognitive behavior, neuro-linguistic programming, coaching, and my business knowledge, my scientific knowledge, my quantum physics knowledge, my mathematics knowledge. And I wanted to bring it together. I always had this dream about combining material and spiritual world. So, it's when I was a kid, I almost died. So therefore, my parents took me to spiritual teachers who helped me through my healing journey. But at the same time, I was also exposed to the best teachers around science, around maths. I won many awards in maths, physics, and all of that. So this curiosity, and also growing up with people like, learning about Einstein and Nikola Tesla and all the biggest people who created the biggest inventions that today we use, that inspired me to keep learning, to keep growing. So I wanted to bring a methodology that enhances every aspect of our life, our spiritual, our mental, our emotional, our financial, our relationship, our value to society. And this is where the first book was born, put it together after 12 weeks in meditation, and I created the method ALARM, which is extremely comprehensive, 25 principles put into the word ALARM acronym. Acknowledge, love, achieve results, create miracles. And those can be across any area in our life. So the principles embedded in there, they really can help people expand human consciousness. So it can elevate human behavior. It can elevate emotional intelligence. It can elevate your relationship. It can elevate your meetings, your dynamics, your love, the way you are as a human being. Now, as I start teaching that to private clients globally, I had my own workshops and I focused more on private clients. As I traveled around the world, I saw how lonely people have become. So in some of the corporations that I went to, people weren't even talking to each other. So the next topic, I wanted to really understand how technology, social media, and how our behaviors are changing as the evolution grows. And the more I dialed into the subject, the more I knew and learned about the toxicity of loneliness and what loneliness does to people on a mental, emotional level, a heart level, how that impacts in society, how people have become more lonely, they don't have anybody to confide, how people are lonely in teams, and how loneliness can affect us at every level, and how it increases the cost to society, to business, to leaders, to our families, on a personal level. And in some level, as I learned from some of the top scientists, loneliness can almost activate and deactivate certain genes. So I started talking about that, and as a result of that, I landed the TED Talk, Technological Armageddon, which has now over 1 million views. And then more I was teaching again, then COVID happened. So during COVID, I sat down, I said, let me list down all the problems we're gonna have. Because, having my partner being a cardiologist and having doctors as my clients and having government leaders and MPs and stuff like that as my private clients, I knew this is gonna be big. The moment it was announced in Wuhan, the pandemic, and the moment in Italy we saw it happen, this is where I sit down and I started planning all the problems we're gonna have. And out of that, one of the things that I predicted, and it happened, is the duration and the challenges that governments will have, businesses will have, the economy will have, individuals will have, families will have. And I wrote it down and I created a 5-step methodologies how to take back control, lead authentically, and live freely on your own. Because many jobs, many people, many businesses were closed down. So it created this like tsunami of uncertainty in the human consciousness. And people were caught unprepared. Now, being a former technologist, one of my main duties was disaster recovery plans. So even when I started my business, I had those in place. So during COVID, my business grew as a result of me publishing the Unfakeable code, but there was so much around that I wanted to take people what's going to happen after that, what they can do. And this is what gives birth to a path to excellence. How do we really awaken everything about us to go on a personal excellence, on leadership excellence, business excellence, professional excellence? And I created another methodology in there, the octagon of excellence. So specific behavioral and scientific proven principles, when people follow those, you start engaging with you on a path to awaken your true greatness.
So, what problems does each book solve?
Okay, the first book is basically alarm, meaning every time you have any physical problem, anytime you have any emotional problem, your body is the feedback to you. It's giving you feedback. So this is the alarm. Same, if you don't like your job, it's a feedback. If you don't like your partner, you don't like your relationship, it's a feedback. If you're eating food and you have allergy, it's a feedback. It's an alarm and you're not listening to. So the first book addresses all of those problems and addresses why you are not listening to the messages of those problems, and how you can then transform your psychology, how you can grow and heal the different states within yourself to be able to listen inside and outside of you, and how those two realities are speaking to you and all the problems you have in there, and the common source is you. So it addresses all of those problems, how to, for you to better listen and create that mental emotional balance, mental emotional heart balance, and create work-life balance in your life, and improve your health. For anybody suffering with different conditions, I'm not talking about genetically transmitted and born condition. I'm talking about a healthy human being who suddenly becomes ill. So the alarm helps you go through the processes to diffuse all of those emotional charges, grow your awareness, and grow your alarms to be able to listen before things happen. So you become more sort of preventive measures, so you remain in perfect health, you have a great work-life balance, and then you have inner peace. Because everywhere I was traveling, people have this turmoil in their head, noise. So loneliness solves the problem of loneliness. The Unfakeable code solves the problem of us showing a fake personality to the world. And we've all seen when leaders are fake, the impact that can have and stuff. We've all seen what lies can do. So the third book solves all of those problems and really engages authenticity as your compass for living an extraordinary life, taking back control, and being an extraordinary leader, extraordinary partner, a loving leader, loving partner, people can trust you. And a path to excellence solves the problems when you really feel stuck and you don't know how to truly grow yourself and be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, I mind reading The Path to Wisdom, and the bit in it where it says we tend not to listen to ourselves until it's too late.
Correct. So illness, it's the same. We have not listened until it's too late. Divorce is the same. Okay? And whatever situation life throws at you, outside or inside, it's because somewhere in there you did not pay attention and you did not listen. and you did not take corrective action for that event not to happen, which means you are in the turmoil of cause and effect.
Yeah, and if I take myself as an example, with my OCD, we managed to go back and get to the root cause of why my OCD happened, and it was basically because I changed who I was.
Yes, basically you went and adopted a fake mask.
Yeah.
And also you gave into more polarization of your thoughts, and therefore you are feeding your thoughts polarized, keep polarizing. The anger grew. You know, your part of you became so angry and so resentful, and that created a chain reaction inside of you. So, you know, we saw Oppenheimer this weekend together, and I explained to you how the science of that works on a psychological level, human behavioral level, and how I follow universal principles and laws, both science and spiritual laws, and how combine them together you can optimize and maximize human behavior.
Yeah. So what are the long-term benefits of us students learning from your books and applying your methods and teachings?
It's a great question, but how about if I revert that question to you? So can you share with the readers some of the benefits you've received over the last 8 years?
So I became financially stable. I used to waste a lot of money. When I was ill, before I met you, I was drinking a lot to block out the pain I was going through. So when I was drinking, I would miss my work. So I'd be spending money in the pub, losing money at work.
Mm-hmm.
But my finances stabilised. Health-wise, I feel like in perfect health. I feel fine. One thing I always wanted when I was 17, when I first became ill, or consciously aware I was ill with OCD, was I just wanted my life to go back to normal,
Mm-hmm.
and my thinking to go back to normal. And for 20 years I didn't have that. I had a rational thinking,
Mm-hmm.
convoluted thinking, and now my thinking's completely, sensible.
Transformed.
Yeah, it's
So,
transformed.
so one of the things that I saw the big difference in you, first and foremost, my network of clients. When you are around us, and I've exposed you from celebrities to different people, and they never would believe you were pure OCD.
Yeah.
So some of them, they even joke with you saying they are more OCD than you.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but also, what are the benefits for you at work?
So the benefits for me at work, I'm more focused, I've got greater concentration. I remember when I used to go to work when I was ill, because of my condition, I would never be present really. I'd be physically in the room, but mentally I'd be elsewhere.
And this is actually, frankly, it's a great point, Paul, because this is one of the biggest problems with every business or individual I worked. So they're not present, their mind is somewhere else. And that can cost billions in the corporate world when your employees are not being present, whether it's in a meeting, whether it's in their jobs, whether as leaders. So, they don't have that awareness of what being present and how to maintain that levels of presence throughout the working day.
Also at work, I can do more now with less time.
So your productivity increased.
Yeah, my productivity, my performance, my communication. I speak to every company I've worked at, I speak to members of the leadership team, the CEOs, and I would never have dreamed of connecting with these people before I met you.
So your confidence grew.
Yeah, my confidence.
Your confidence, your communication, your certainty, your knowledge, your learning, your skills.
My planning.
Your planning around that. Your processes, because we work on many things to help you in different jobs around processes.
Yeah, and my perception of my illness is shifted as well, because we're kind of taught OCD is all bad, it's all negative. But I learned through you, it's not true. I'm great at detail, I'm meticulous. I go into massive detail, which is a benefit of my OCD. And I learned from you also it exists in forms which are illness and which aren't illness. And that's where you get people saying you're a little bit OCD.
Yeah.
But
so I guess you answered your own question.
yeah. But also, if I go a little bit deeper, what I didn't expect when I started working with you was the benefits for my family.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having a conversation with my late mum. She died last year, but I remember having a conversation with her a few years ago when she shared with me. I was just waiting for the phone to ring one night and be told that you'd been found dead, that you drunk yourself to death, because I'd been warned 3 times by 3 different doctors, you need to stop drinking or you'll kill yourself. And then when she told me a few years into working with you, she didn't have that worry anymore.
So imagine how many millions of parents worry about their children. So now you can see the benefits, and now you can see why I work so many hours and why I love what I do.
Yeah, because, I mean, I could sit here all day and go into benefits, not just for me, but for my parents also. The main thing was the worry for them just, it stopped.
If you look at what's going on in the main TV and media and everything else, they bring people in, experts like myself, because a lot of parents are concerned about the mental well-being, about emotional, about this week on BBC was about a parent who her daughter was abused by her grandfather. Okay, so these are all the things that the methodologies can help. So now we saw Sinead O'Connor dying.
Mm-hmm.
So the methodologies are really designed to, first and foremost, save a human life. Secondly, to help them grow. Thirdly, to create the life they truly want. Thirdly, to be great partners, great employees, great leaders, and share the greater good. And we all live in one planet. And what is our contribution of leaving a better world behind us?
Yeah, and I'll just share one more personal benefit, quite a personal one. But I remember when I was immediately became out at 17 with OCD, and I suffered in silence for over 20 years. Every day I battled with suicidal thoughts. Every single day I had suicidal thoughts of ending my life, and I battled with them. And probably the main reason although I attempted suicide later on before I met you, just before I met you, the main thing that stopped me from doing that was because my parents were still alive, and I couldn't put them through that pain. If they hadn't been there, I wouldn't be here. But now I wake up every day and I don't have those thoughts. They don't take up time and space in my mind. I wake up, I get ready, I go to work, I'm focused, I'm productive, and I'm collaborative, and I'm helpful. And you awaken me to see how one thing I can do can create a shockwave of you right through a company. How something I can do can reverberate all the way up to leadership level and
what's the price for that?
And help them.
What's the value?
It's absolutely priceless.
It's priceless. So this is why when people get to know me personally, like you as a client, and they look at my name Tony, which in Latin means priceless, they say, "Oh my God, your grandfather chose a brilliant name to represent your mission and vision and purpose in life." So to give that priceless value whoever I work with, and that's when, no matter whether I was working in the corporate world, I'm working now privately and coaching individuals in corporate world, my intention is constantly, I'm going there to give priceless value.
Yeah, and the value you get off you is priceless. I mean, it's just amazing how you transform people's lives, and I've met lots of your clients, and they all consistently say the same.
Yes, I mean, the clients who I've had consistently and invested consistently have seen this consistent growth. And sometimes people ask me, how long do I need to work with you? And my answer is, how far do you want to take me? How far do you want me to take you?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I see life as a great mirror for the things we need to do. So all the seasons in life teach us different things, but all of them teach us consistently one thing: change is the only constant we have, which means we're constantly changing, constantly growing, and constantly we're going to have challenges, new challenges. So for me, coaching and training and development is an essential part, and I believe every child, every human being would benefit from coaching, training, therapy, continuous development, because life, it's not stagnant. So therefore, we need to be prepared for whatever life throws at us.
Yeah. So what advice will you give to our audience?
A lot of the people who are extremely high achievers, clients and readers, they love the principles I've shared in the Unfakeable Code, which is the code to true authenticity. And principle number 5 in there states, let your heart be the only military commander that wins every battle in life. Because we get so easily lost in our emotions. And when we are quick to respond, we also make quick mistakes that later on we judge ourselves and feel shame and guilt, which then makes you extremely gravitational and heavy. So I always advise people, if you need to move away from conflict, take a breath. Or if you have to stay in there, take a deep breath, count to 12, and then see what your heart is telling you how to respond.
And so where can people find out more about you, and what are the next steps for those listening who are ready to take action and start their professional and personal transformation with you?
So, first and foremost, people who want to grow, and they can go on my website, Tonyjselimi.com, and they can find all the links to my social media. You can grab an excerpt of my book or audiobook, one chapter. You can learn what the different aspects of my work and how that applies to you and which fits more to you. So whether you're as an individual or whether you're as a company, which elements that you feel can help you create the results you're seeking for. So my work is extremely customized. So the process is simple. They get in touch with my PA, info@tonyjselimi.com, with some information of what people want to work on privately with me, or what the company wants to work privately with me. Then we have the first session. If it's an individual, it's a 1 hour, 2 hour, half a day. Same if it's a business can book me for full day strategic, in detail exploration, where I first and foremost identify why they want to invest, what are the problems, what are the pains, what are the the results, the clear results they want to achieve as a result of investing in continued growth and development of their leaders, individuals, teams, whatever it might be in the business, and then create a custom-made plan how to take them to that space. Because yes, it's we have now a lot of online training programs, but we know human behavior does not work one way. So online training is great for some individuals, but it's a one-way system. So great coach, what I add value to that as a coach, as a trainer, as an educator, is being able to be having those reflective sessions you've experienced yourself, where you truly transform your psychology. So you can make better use of those online learning systems.
Yeah, because another thing I've noticed is my transformation doesn't just happen in the sessions. I go away from here and then something we've discussed 3 or 4 days later, it clicks.
It clicks, correct. And also you adapt that.
Yeah, you adapt it and you start using it.
You start using it, then you didn't get it properly, so you come in the next session, you ask me more questions about it. And we remain consistency. So for me, the reason I've seen this growth with you, because I've been equally tough and equally loving towards you, but I never let you go on with your disempowered self. Every time you brought all the stuff, we had to stop it and then instill a more elevating behavior. Not the toxic behaviors that usually friends will say, oh, I feel sorry for you. No, you're not working with an expert for him to feel sorry with you. You're working with an expert to create the transformation so you feel amazing, you feel elevated, you feel energized, you feel productive, you feel loving, you feel like a powerful being who can go out there and make a significant difference in the world.
Yeah. So it's been an amazing interview. I hope you've all enjoyed it. And thank you, Tony. Thank you for his time. Anything you just want to leave us with before we go?
Be loving, be kind, be all you can be.
So I've been Paul McMonigal. This has been Tonyjselimi, absolutely amazing human being guy. I'm sure you'll agree after watching this. And thank you for your time and wishing you all a great day ahead, whatever you're doing. Thank you.